My wife gave me the silent treatment for 3 months because she wanted her assistant to get a promotion, forcing me to give that guy a multi-million-dollar project. She didn't care even when I was hospitalized with a high fever. We were supposed to go to Iceland for our honeymoon, but because her assistant was jealous, she gave him the tickets and lied to me, saying work was most important. After I found intimate photos of the two of them, I immediately quit, submitted the divorce agreement she had already signed, and sold the apartment I'd bought at a low price. Later, the company ran into problems without me covering for them. She came and knelt outside my door in a thunderstorm, crying all night begging for forgiveness, but I refused. The assistant ran off with the apartment she'd bought. The two of them turned on each other. She drowned after going bankrupt, and the guy ended up in a mental hospital. The day after Sophia and her assistant Ethan went on their honeymoon, I finished all my work handover and went through the resignation process with HR. Less than 10 minutes later, I received a notification that Sophia had approved it. Looks like Sophia wanted to fire him for a long time. He's quite self-aware. Yeah, after all, staying in the company would just make Sophia unhappy. Better to leave sooner. I just wonder what he plans to do next. Why are low-wage working stiffs like us worrying about him? No matter what, he's still Sophia's husband. Even if he quits and does nothing at home, he'll have more money than he can spend. As I packed my things, my colleagues were watching me with thinly veiled envy, enjoying my situation. I was used to it. Everyone knew that Ethan and I didn't get along. Sophia, as my wife, clearly favored Ethan and often publicly humiliated me because of him. Because of this, they competed to target me, hoping to gain favor with the assistant. Thinking of this, I sneered. Excuse me, I'm leaving this time to jump ship. A company offered me double the salary, and the benefits are much better than here. After saying that, I ignored their faces turning green with jealousy, picked up my packed personal belongings, and walked out of the company. As soon as I stepped out the main door, I got a call from Sophia. I had been thinking about how to explain my resignation, but when I answered the call, Sophia said, "I sent you a document. Have it done and sent back to me within an hour." It turned out she didn't know I had resigned. I couldn't help but laugh. I opened the file. It was the multi-million-dollar project I had recently given to Ethan. Just like always. Ethan gets the fame and fortune. I do the work, and I take the blame if something goes wrong. At first, I had refused, but Sophia tried every means to persuade me. When she saw I was determined not to do it, she gave me the silent treatment, and intentionally stayed up late working on it, herself. I couldn't bear to see her struggle, so I had to take it over in the end. I had thought Sophia would eventually understand my good intentions. But this time, for Ethan's promotion, she had a big fight with me, and gave me the silent treatment for 3 months. Even when I was hospitalized with a fever of 40 degrees Celsius, she wouldn't look at me, just to force me to give the multi-million-dollar project I had worked on for a month to Ethan. That's when I completely gave up hope. "I'm not at the company," I replied calmly. "Not at the company." Sophia's voice suddenly turned cold. "I remember it's working hours right now. David, you left your post without permission during working hours. Do you know that according to company policy, you'll be docked a day's pay?" "I know, but I've already." Just as I was about to tell her about resigning, Ethan's gentle voice came from the other end. "Sophia, if David doesn't want to, don't force him. I'll do it." "No, you stayed up so late yesterday, you must rest today." Sophia's tone was gentle. She was like a completely different person, compared to how she spoke to me just now. Ethan was still explaining that he wasn't tired, but Sophia was firm. "I'm the boss. Telling you to rest is an order from me. Do you dare disobey?" Ethan stuck out his tongue. "I just feel it's too much trouble for David. Could he be as tired as you? You have to organize contracts even when you're on a business trip, but he does nothing in the office every day. What's more, he's my husband. Shouldn't he be willing to put in some effort?" Sophia scoffed. With one sentence, she dismissed all my contributions. I no longer felt the initial anger, jealousy, and despair, only numbness. After all, it had happened too many times. Seeing my silence, Sophia thought I had agreed, and her tone softened a little. "David, do you really think what I give you is just work? I want to train you. After all, you're my husband, and you should have more responsibility and drive for the company. You should learn more from Ethan. He worked until 4 a.m. yesterday. I've never seen someone so excellent, so young, and so hardworking." Ethan chuckled from the side. "I think David is also very capable." Although he said that, his tone held a hint of disdain. Sophia didn't hear it and scoffed. "If he were half as capable as you, I'd wake up laughing in my dreams. Don't forget, all the projects this year were completed by you." The two of them echoed each other. I didn't say anything, nor did I want to argue. All the projects this year were snatched by Ethan from my hands. Sophia knew it clearly, but pretended to be oblivious. It was simply because she thought we had been married for 5 years, and I wouldn't divorce her over such trivial matters. Alright, Ethan and I have a business dinner, client meeting later. Finish it as soon as possible and send it over. After saying that, without waiting for my reply, Sophia hung up the phone. But less than 2 minutes later, my phone vibrated twice. It was a new post from Ethan. The two of them were sitting in front of a lavish candlelit dinner. Sophia playfully rested her head on Ethan's shoulder, and in front of Ethan was an exquisite gift box, small enough to only hold a ring. I scrolled down further, and saw Ethan's post from last night. At 4 a.m., he and Sophia were having a great time drinking at a bar. So, Sophia's idea of Ethan's hard work was drinking. The business dinner, client meeting later was actually a date. I scoffed, too lazy to question Sophia. There was no point in asking. She always had various reasons to answer me, and even if I rendered her speechless, what awaited me wasn't her apology and change of heart, but her endless silent treatment. Every time this happened, I had to find ways to coax her. Now that I think about it, it would be better to use that time to work harder and figure out how to make money. After all, hearts change easily, but money will never betray you. Thinking this, I left the company directly, contemplating my departure. As soon as my car left the parking lot, my phone rang twice. I opened it and saw a payment notification. Sophia had used my card to spend another $20,000. Everyone thought I was with Sophia for the money. But in fact, my cards were all held by her. She said her money was for the company, so all these years, our expenses and spending came from my salary and side income. I also believed that men should contribute more to the family, so I never argued with her about it. It wasn't until recently that I discovered my income was clearly high, but I never saved any money and always seemed to be short. I couldn't help but check the transaction details, and found that Sophia often used my card to buy gifts for Ethan. She had given him game consoles worth thousands, suits worth tens of thousands, and even spent hundreds of thousands to book a 5-star hotel for Ethan's birthday celebration. But over the years, she wouldn't even buy me new underwear after 2 months of wear. Any gift over $100, she would complain it was too expensive. She'd casually write me a greeting card and say she was saving money for our future. I couldn't help but question her about this. Sophia's face turned grim. She accused me of not trusting her, gave me the silent treatment, and declared she would never use a single cent of my money again. Thinking of this, I still called Sophia. I called over a dozen times, but she didn't answer. Seeing this, I didn't hesitate and went straight to the bank to report my card lost. Less than a minute later, Sophia quickly called back. I was busy just now and didn't see your calls. What's wrong? She feigned innocence. My tone was calm. It's nothing now. Oh. There's a problem with your card, it's frozen, she said. I know. I didn't hide it and told her directly. I stopped it. Why would you stop your card for no reason? Just because you have nothing better to do. Let's just say that. But didn't you say you wouldn't use my card anymore? Sophia choked for a moment. Before, I never argued with her about money. Shortly after the company was founded, I fell seriously ill and needed $100,000 for surgery. Just then, she secretly invested all our money into a project and lost everything. She thought I would be angry and cry with red eyes, apologizing to me. But I just comforted her and told her that money was a small matter and my money was always for her use first. I thought sincerity for sincerity would make our relationship more solid, but I didn't expect it would only indulge her recklessness. However, Sophia didn't seem to think too much. After 2 seconds of silence, she sighed. Alright, I know, you're still mad at me for not going on the honeymoon with you, so you're throwing a tantrum. David, I thought you had grown up, but I didn't expect you to be so petty. I promise you, after this time, I'll put all work aside and go on a honeymoon with you, okay? I didn't bring my card this time. Go unfreeze it now, don't be willful. The business dinner, client meeting later is really important. You have 10 minutes, or I'll be angry. As if afraid I wouldn't cooperate, Sophia added a threat before hanging up. In the past, every time she said she was angry, I would obediently do as she said. But she didn't seem to know that I wasn't afraid of her being angry. I just felt she was already tired from being busy with the company, and didn't want to bother her further. Now I realized that I tried my best to lighten her burden, but the troubles were always ones she brought upon herself. Since that's the case, why should I meddle? If you didn't bring your bank card, you can find your secretary, or you can find Ethan. Anyway, this business trip was for his project, so it's not unreasonable for him to cover the expenses. After replying to her message, I turned off my phone and drove home to pack my things. I bought the apartment outright. It was the layout and floor, she liked. At first, I had wanted to put the property deed in her name too, but a strange impulse flashed through my mind, and I kept it in my name. Thinking back now, I'm very grateful I left myself a way out. After packing, I listed the apartment with the real estate agency. The next day, I went to City Hall and submitted the divorce agreement that had already been signed. When I signed the agreement back then, I was still thinking about how to explain it to Sophia. But at the time, she was in a hurry to grab her luggage and go downstairs. She didn't even look at it, just flipped to the last page and signed her name. "Take a look," I said, still holding a glimmer of hope. "No need. You're my husband. Don't I trust you?" I gave a bitter smile. Her trust in me was even less than her trust in Ethan. The so-called trust was just her wanting to get rid of me quickly so she could rush to catch her flight and accompany Ethan on his honeymoon. But it also saved me the trouble of wasting more words. However, after submitting the documents, the staff member told me that they needed confirmation from the person herself that the marriage had broken down before the divorce process could be completed. I showed them intimate photos Sophia and Ethan had taken, and I showed them our wedding photo that she had smashed because of Ethan, but the staff member still shook their head. The person themselves must say it verbally. Frustrated, I turned on my phone. As soon as it turned on, many missed calls and unread messages from Sophia popped up. Because I hadn't unfrozen the bank card, she had said everything, good and bad. The last message was her cursing me out and declaring she wanted a divorce. I showed the messages to the staff member. The staff member still shook their head. I had no choice but to call her. It took a long time for her to answer. "Sophia, our relationship. Who has a relationship with you? Whatever you say now is useless. I'm definitely going to divorce you." Sophia thought I was trying to coax her like before, and cut me off coldly. Then she hung up. The staff member finally believed me, looking at me with sympathy. They submitted the documents and told me the divorce certificate would be issued in a month. I knew that Sophia's talk of divorce wasn't serious, it was just a threat. In the past, whenever I made her unhappy, she would say this often. I was always the one who couldn't bear it, pleading and pestering her for forgiveness, agreeing to all her demands to make her drop the idea of divorce. She was sure I didn't want a divorce, so this became her ultimate weapon, thinking she could get what she wanted by threatening divorce. But she seemed to have forgotten that feelings are like money in a piggy bank. If you only take and never deposit, they will eventually be depleted. Because I listed the apartment at a very low price, it sold smoothly in less than a week. I went to the real estate agency office, signed the contract, set the handover date with the buyer, and returned home. As soon as I pushed open the door, I heard laughter coming from inside. The matching slippers by the entrance were gone. In their place were a pair of men's leather shoes, and the pair of high heels Sophia loved most, the ones Ethan gave her for her birthday. I realized the people inside were Sophia and Ethan. Weren't they supposed to be back in 2 days? While I was thinking, Ethan heard the sound and walked over. He was wearing my slippers and my pajamas, looking relaxed and acting like the owner of the place. "David, why are you back at this time? I thought the company wasn't off work yet." As he spoke, he deliberately flicked cigarette ash into the nearby mug. I recognized it. It was the matching mug Sophia gave me. I used to cherish it, often holding it in my hands. At this moment, Sophia also walked over from the living room. Seeing Ethan using my mug as an ashtray, she just pretended not to see it. She, who would want to gag at the smell of smoke and had strictly ordered me to quit smoking, showed no discomfort at all now. Indeed, she had changed a lot since being with Ethan. Seeing me, her expression was complex for a moment. Then it turned grim. "You skipped work again. David, even if you are my husband, you can't do this often. That's the company, not our home. If you don't follow the rules, how can I manage others in the future?" Rules. I couldn't help but want to laugh. When it came to not following rules, who could compare to Sophia? A year ago, when the company was just getting on track, Sophia unceremoniously brought Ethan, who had no industry experience, directly into management. Although I was puzzled, I heard Sophia say that Ethan would definitely achieve great things, so I patiently mentored him. But Ethan spent every day playing games or sleeping. After dragging out his work hours, he would intentionally stay until midnight and post a picture of himself, working overtime, in the company's large group chat. I gave feedback to Sophia, but she dismissively told me maybe he was tired from work and just playing a game to relax. I asked Sophia to keep an eye on him. She said she didn't have time. I asked her to install surveillance cameras. She said it was illegal. Later, projects repeatedly went wrong, resulting in multi-million-dollar losses. Ethan remained self-indulgent, and I couldn't stand it anymore, and wanted to fire him, but Sophia strongly opposed it. Finally, she asked me, "Are you jealous, afraid that Ethan is too good and will surpass you?" Later, Ethan stayed and continued to steal clients and projects I had secured. Sophia clearly saw it but pretended not to. Instead, she praised Ethan as an excellent employee and held me up as a negative example of someone jealous of a colleague. I used to feel wronged. But now I think about it, with that level of endurance, if I were at any other company, I probably wouldn't be as down and out as I am now. I didn't speak. Ethan gently patted her back from the side and coaxed her warmly. "Maybe David knew you were back and rushed here specifically." Sophia obviously believed him and looked smug. "Fine, don't do it again. But how did you know I was back today?" Ethan smiled. "Sophia, did you forget? HR bought the return tickets." Maybe she told David. Sophia snorted lightly. "David, you don't focus on your work every day, but you're quite active in asking about such trivial matters. However, don't think I'll forgive you just because of this. You threw a tantrum and froze the bank card, which made me lose face with the partners. In the end, it was Ethan who went around asking people to borrow money to settle the expenses." Seeing my prolonged silence, Sophia thought I was reflecting as usual, and her tone softened a bit. "It's not impossible for me to forgive you. But before that, we need to give Ethan due compensation. The apartment he's currently living in is being renovated and is temporarily uninhabitable. You can clear out this bedroom for him to stay in for a while, and I won't hold this against you." I shook my head. "But I've already sold this apartment." "Sold it?" Sophia's eyes widened. Before she could ask, Ethan spoke first. "Is David planning to sell this apartment to buy a bigger one to apologize to you?" Sophia thought that made sense, and immediately beamed with joy. "That's right. We've lived in this apartment for quite some time. It's time to buy a bigger one. I'll contribute some money then. Don't sell this apartment yet, it's perfect for Ethan to use." "Oh, that's too much trouble. How much is the rent?" "I'll pay the market price." "Pay what rent?" Sophia's face sank. "I'm your boss, would I make you pay rent? That's too much." "No, I must pay rent." "Then just a few $100s will do." The two of them went back and forth, with Sophia acting as if the rent didn't matter at all. This apartment was in the city center, and the market rent was nearly $10,000. She would act like it didn't matter. But when we were dating, she would clearly calculate even the cost of meals and movies with me down to the last penny. The way people act when they love you, and when they don't, is truly worlds apart. "How about it? If you agree, I can reconsider the divorce." "No need to reconsider." "How can that be? Forgiving you so easily won't teach you a lesson. What if your bad habits come back?" Sophia interrupted me, thinking I wanted her to drop the idea of divorce. Ethan giggled from the side. "Sophia is right, but just for my sake, forgive David. Besides, you and David have been married for so many years. It would be such a shame to divorce now." Sophia pretended to ponder. Ethan simply reached out and gently shook her, acting spoiled. Sophia told him to stop messing around, but her face was beaming. "All right," she finally looked at me, satisfied. "Since Ethan is also speaking up for you, I'll forgive you this time. You should thank Ethan properly. You treated him like that, and he's still speaking up for you, without holding a grudge." "Fine, then this divorce." "You misunderstood." Before she could finish, I calmly interrupted and handed the divorce agreement to her. "What I mean is, we are already divorced." The smile on Sophia's lips froze. "What do you mean? You want to divorce me?" Her expression wasn't as happy as I had imagined. Unexpectedly, there was even a hint of anger. Ethan only paused for a moment, a flash of joy quickly crossing his eyes. His tone, however, feigned reproach. "David, how can you be so stubborn? Sophia mentioned divorce just now because she wanted you to coax her, not because she really wanted to divorce you. Quickly take the divorce agreement back. Don't make a fuss. Sophia has worked so hard for so long and just got back. Don't upset her." He seemed to be speaking up for me, but I knew he was deliberately provoking Sophia. He had used this tactic many times, and it always worked. In the past, Sophia had angrily demoted me and angrily withheld 2 months of my salary. I had expected Sophia to angrily accept the divorce again. But to my surprise, her face became serious. After a while, she said, "I won't divorce you. David, we have a lot of interests tied up now." Hearing this, I suddenly understood her concerns. It turned out she was worried about the division of assets, but she seemed to have forgotten that, when we got married, she had a prenuptial agreement drawn up, stipulating that I wouldn't get a single cent from her if we divorced. Likewise, she couldn't take anything that was my premarital property. I calmly interrupted her and told her about our original agreement. "And you might have misunderstood. I said, we are already divorced. You signed this agreement a long time ago. Sophia was stunned, then immediately denied it. Impossible, I don't remember. Seeing she wouldn't give up without a fight, I turned to the last page, where her name was signed hastily. Perhaps it jogged her memory, as Sophia's face gradually turned pale. The document you had me sign before was a divorce agreement. She stared at me with wide, shocked eyes. I nodded. I watched as Sophia's face grew worse and worse. But wasn't divorce what she had always wanted? Why was she acting like this now? I didn't believe she hadn't seriously considered divorcing me. Time passed bit by bit. I had thought she would take this opportunity to agree readily, but who knew, in less than a few minutes, she snatched the agreement and forcefully tore it into pieces. I won't divorce you. Her tone was firm. Her behavior made me feel very puzzled. But it also felt very funny. Tearing it up is useless. City Hall has already started the process. The divorce certificate will be issued in a while. Hearing that the divorce would be finalized soon, Ethan's smile became even brighter, but he said regretfully, "Oh dear, David, how could you be so impulsive, like this? I really feel it's not worth it for Eleanor. If I had a girlfriend as good as Eleanor, I'd never be willing to get a divorce." Shut up. Before Kevin could finish, Eleanor, uncharacteristically, cut him off fiercely. Kevin froze in place. His expression was shocked, as if he couldn't believe it. And why would he? Eleanor had always spoken softly and gently to Kevin, never saying anything harsh, afraid of upsetting him. Such a harsh attitude even surprised me. As if realizing she'd gone too far, Eleanor softened, speaking to Kevin in a flat voice. "Our affairs are none of your business. If you have nothing to do, just go home." Kevin refused. "Eleanor, have you forgotten? The place I'm renting isn't livable right now. If your place isn't livable, go to a hotel. You're an adult. Can't you even solve a simple problem? Do you expect me to conjure up a place for you, out of thin air?" Eleanor's tone was unkind. But I noticed her subtly giving Kevin a look. She thought she was being discreet, but she didn't know I already knew she had secretly bought a small house in the outskirts. Kevin clearly understood her meaning. He feigned hurt, pouted, then quietly took a key from the pocket of her coat, hanging on the coat rack before walking out. I didn't expose their little scheme. After all, I no longer cared about them. Besides, exposing them wouldn't do any good. Nominally, the house belonged to Eleanor anyway. Who she wanted to give it to was her freedom. After he left, Eleanor sighed and looked at me, her tone much softer. "Are you satisfied now? I know you don't really want to divorce me. You're just upset because Kevin and I have been too close, but there's nothing going on between us. I just feel sorry for him being alone in this city. As his boss, I should help him out. I admit getting close to him was partly to provoke you, but no matter what, we are husband and wife. I did this hoping you would improve." Saying this, Eleanor smiled and stepped forward, opening her arms as if to hug me. I pushed her away without hesitation. "The property handover is in a month. I need to properly clean up the house during this time. Since you're back, figure out how to move your things yourself." Eleanor's arms froze in mid-air, and the smile on her lips stiffened. "David, what do you mean? I've already sent Kevin away, said everything nice I could. You're still selling the house. Still want to divorce me?" She looked utterly wronged. But during our Cold War before, to try and save the marriage, I was even forced to kneel in front of her in public. I didn't say anything, but Eleanor seemed to think I was hesitating. She exhaled and added, "Even if you divorce me now, have you thought about what you'll do afterward? I admit I'm not perfect. But haven't you considered that maybe your next partner won't be as good as me? What will you do then?" I found it laughable. In her eyes, was love and marriage just about weighing the pros and cons? I could understand her habit as a businesswoman, but if that was the case, I didn't understand how, when weighing me against Kevin, I somehow didn't measure up. But I didn't ask. Talking about it was useless now. Just as I was about to speak, her phone rang. It was from the company. "Ms. Ning, the partner just called. They said there are problems with the project assistant Kevin handled. The other side is furious and wants us to fix it immediately, or they'll take us to court." How could that be? Kevin's proposals have always been good before. How could this time? She stopped abruptly mid-sentence. She vaguely told the person on the phone to stabilize the situation, then hung up and looked up at me. "David, didn't you check this proposal?" It seemed she finally remembered too. After Eleanor snatched the proposal from me and gave it to Kevin, I was always uneasy. Each time, I'd fix Kevin's glaring errors until the proposal was complete. But every time, Eleanor would smile and scold me for being nosy, saying Kevin could handle it himself. And when there were problems, Eleanor would shift the blame onto me, complaining that I hadn't checked carefully enough and missed such obvious mistakes. So this time, I didn't even glance at it. She said Kevin could complete it independently, so I gave him the chance to prove himself. No, I shook my head. Eleanor frowned tightly. Seeing she was about to get angry, I said flatly, that's Kevin's job, not my responsibility. I really have no right, nor obligation, to interfere. But you're my husband. So what? I scoffed. I'm your husband, so it's my duty to clean up your messes, take your abuse, endure your silent treatment, and let everyone bully and mock me. I've been your husband, tolerating you until now. I've done a husband's duty. But what about you? Have you done anything to deserve the title of wife? What do you mean I haven't? Eleanor retorted, flirting with other men, or teaming up with another man to steal my projects. Is that what you mean by doing your part? My attitude was firm. My tone sarcastic. This was a side of me I had never shown Eleanor before. Eleanor seemed stunned. She froze for a moment, falling silent, momentarily forgetting how to retort. She bit her lip, looking like she wanted to speak but couldn't. After a few minutes, she regained her composure, adopting the authoritative air of a boss she used at the company. I don't want to talk about this useless stuff. Whether I'm a good wife or not, I'm still your boss. This project is a work matter, you're my employee, so the company's problems are your problems. You handle this project issue. Get it done in 3 days, or else. She took out her phone. She scrolled through the company directory, looking for my name, trying to forward the proposal to me. But after searching for 2 minutes, she still couldn't find it. Her face gradually darkened. Finally, she widened her eyes. Where are you? Why can't I find you in the company system? I was amused by her. Have you forgotten? I already resigned, and you were the one who approved it. Impossible. I don't remember approving your resignation. Eleanor's expression grew increasingly frantic. She immediately looked for the resignation application record. I watched her calmly, not surprised at all, only finding it ridiculous. What could she possibly remember? Other than caring if Kevin had a place to live, ate well, or rested properly, she didn't remember details about anyone else. She didn't remember I had resigned. She didn't remember the pain of being abandoned by her. She certainly wouldn't remember how hard I worked on a project. She wasn't panicking because I had left, she was panicking because there was no one to deal with these messy problems for her. Once this was over, she would go back to normal, continue flirting with Kevin, continue helping Kevin steal my projects, and continue letting everyone bully me. At this point, Eleanor finally found my record. When she saw my name listed as the applicant, her eyes widened, and she stumbled back 2 steps. She muttered a swear word. Who approved your resignation? Didn't they know about my relationship with you? Eleanor frantically called the company. The other side picked up quickly. Before they could speak, Eleanor launched into a furious tirade. Did you verify this with me? Who told you to act without authority? But, Ms. Sterling, didn't you say before? What did I say? Did I say I wanted you to fire him? He's my husband. Didn't you know that? What kind of job are you doing? You can't tell who you report to, can you? Now get out of the company. Don't ever let me see you again. Victoria Sterling angrily berated the person, then looked at me pleadingly. Ethan, I really didn't expect her to treat you like this. Come back, okay? It seemed like she was sticking up for me. But if not for her and Brandon's instruction, how would everyone dare to treat me this way? The ones who bullied me were these colleagues, but the people standing behind them, whispering in their ears and giving them courage, wasn't it her and Brandon? Seeing that I didn't respond, Victoria Sterling took out her phone again, promising a high price to hire you back. I pushed her hand away. You should focus on dealing with your work. I'm leaving now. Remember to move your things before the property closing, lease handover. Otherwise, if there's any penalty for breach of contract, late fee, I'll sue you. And once you're involved in a lawsuit, the company's internal affairs will likely be turbulent, and it will be even more troublesome then. So I advise you to agree to part ways amicably. After all, we were married for 5 years, and I don't want to make things too ugly between us. After saying that, I ignored her and turned to go back to the bedroom to pack my things. Perhaps my words had an effect. Victoria Sterling didn't pester me anymore. After staying outside for a few minutes, I heard the sound of footsteps moving away. I didn't pay any attention. After packing my things, I took them to the new apartment I had just rented. I rested for another 2 days and started looking for a job. I quit my job without a job lined up. The lining up another job I mentioned before leaving was naturally false. But unexpectedly, less than 2 days after putting my resume online, a company actually offered me double the salary, and the benefits were far beyond my imagination. I didn't hesitate. After passing the interview, I immediately signed the contract and started work. During this time, The apartment handover was also smooth, and a large sum of money was deposited into my bank account. Life became comfortable, without emotional drain, without anxiety. I didn't need to be angry every day about my wife talking to other men, and I didn't have to worry about whether my wife would again hand off projects I worked hard on to other men. After a few days, I felt like I had gained weight on my face, but Victoria Sterling was clearly not doing as well as I had imagined. After the proposal being revised 7 or 8 times by Brandon, the collaborator hadn't erupted yet, but Brandon broke down first. After being rejected for the last time, he smashed his computer in front of everyone at the office. At this time, many people in the company had submitted their resignations to Victoria Sterling. Victoria Sterling was already overwhelmed and furious. Seeing the scene, she directly slapped Brandon. Brandon ran out of the company in anger. Afterward, no matter how much Victoria Sterling called, she couldn't reach him. Victoria Sterling tried to outsource the project, but it was discovered by the collaborator. Finally, Victoria Sterling violated the contract and was sued. The day she received the summons, Victoria Sterling came to me, again for help. Thunderstorms raged. She stood in the rain, crying hysterically, apologizing to me repeatedly, asking for another chance, and swearing that she would never make that mistake again. I closed the curtains, put on my earphones, and lay on the soft, comfortable bed. I didn't feel any pity. She was just getting caught in the rain, but my 5 years of marriage had been a long, damp ordeal. I thought Victoria Sterling would leave awkwardly if I didn't come out, but she remained standing outside the house until dawn the next day. The rain had soaked her hair, sticking it to her cheeks. Her pale face had no color. I had never seen her look so pathetic. I didn't want to see her, but I had to go to work. As I expected, as soon as I walked out the door, Victoria Sterling quickly came up to me, looking at me with pitiful eyes. "You don't have to look at me like that. I won't help you." My tone was decisive. "I know you're angry with me. I've thought things through this past night. I don't expect you to help me, but can you give me one last chance? Do you remember this?" Victoria Sterling said, extending her hand towards me, and opening her palm. In the center lay a small diamond ring with tiny stones. I was stunned for a moment, my thoughts drifting. Victoria Sterling had loved me at first. When we got married, we didn't have much money, barely managing to scrape together less than 10,000 yuan between us. Compared to others whose wedding diamond ring was huge, referring to a diamond size, the one I gave her was pitifully small. We said when we got married that no matter what difficulties we encountered, we would never leave each other. You said you would love me forever. Seeing my expression soften, her eyes filled with hope, reflecting a few points of brightness. I haven't done anything to wrong you. Brandon and I were never like you imagined. I just felt sorry for him being alone here, but I never had feelings for him. Ethan, what I did wasn't as unforgivable as you think. Will you give me another chance?" She continued speaking. I reached out and picked up the diamond ring. But before hope could ignite within her, her face suddenly turned pale the next second. I held the ring out to her, showing her the inscription inside the band. The previously smooth inner band had words carved into it. 2 neat names: Victoria Sterling Brandon. Just as expected, I let out a light laugh. Victoria Sterling wanted to argue, but I interrupted her. "Perhaps you didn't do anything excessive, but your heart was already leaning towards him. His name would seep into every moment of our lives. Perhaps it was you subconsciously ordering the food he liked for me, or perhaps it was the unconscious things you said in your sleep at night. If I were to forgive you, I would have to forgive every time I thought about you betraying me, forgive myself who was heartbroken for you, both countless times. And you would have to endure my suspicion and jealousy again and again. Honestly, Victoria Sterling, can you accept that?" Victoria Sterling didn't speak anymore. She just froze in place, her eyes red-rimmed. I believe she already had the answer in her heart. "Let's end it here," I said softly, without looking at her again, and turned to leave. This time, Victoria Sterling didn't chase after me. But I heard her behind me, sobbing uncontrollably. Her cries contained regret and despair, but I knew it wasn't because she regretted it. It was just that she didn't expect to receive such a punishment. Even if she could do it again, she would still choose the path she took. Victoria Sterling's lawsuit was lost as expected. The other party demanded 3 times the deposit in compensation, totaling nearly 1 million yuan. The company's funding dried up, faced financial collapse. Victoria Sterling used all her savings and sold all her valuable possessions, but she was still short by hundreds of thousands. Victoria Sterling was forced to prepare to sell the small apartment she had secretly bought before. However, when she went to sell the apartment, she discovered that the name on the deed title had been changed. It was Brandon. When the news broke, no one was surprised. Given how much Victoria Sterling had trusted him back then, Transferring the deed, ownership of an apartment was easy for him. Victoria, you said you were going to give me this apartment back then, so I transferred the deed, ownership. Is there a problem with that? When Victoria Sterling came looking for him, Brandon was lounging on the sofa nonchalantly, eating freshly washed red grapes. Orange peels and leftover takeout boxes were also on the table. After disappearing for so long, with Victoria Sterling unable to find any trace of him, it turned out he was hiding here. Victoria Sterling was so angry her lungs felt like they would explode. This apartment isn't for you. Get out. I don't want to see you. Well, what you say doesn't count. My name is on the deed, title. Brandon said smugly, showing her the deed, title. He thought he had done it perfectly, and that Victoria Sterling couldn't do anything to him. Victoria Sterling was so angry she laughed. She turned and went to the police station. After presenting proof of investment, she not only recovered the property but also ruthlessly sued Brandon in court. Unfortunately, Victoria Sterling had indulged him too much over the years, and there wasn't enough evidence to make Brandon pay compensation. In the end, Brandon was detained for 15 days and then released. After being released from prison, Brandon angrily went to settle the score with Victoria Sterling, broadcasting her negative information online. With his handsome face, Brandon quickly became a trending topic online. Meanwhile, Victoria Sterling was exposed for marital infidelity. Under the snowball effect, her reputation plummeted until her reputation was ruined. Her partners were affected, and within a month, the company's funding dried up, faced financial collapse, and the company went into liquidation, declared bankruptcy. Finally, Victoria Sterling arranged to meet him. They argued about something, and the conflict escalated until both jumped into the river. Victoria Sterling died by drowning. Brandon was discovered and rescued in time, but he suffered a mental breakdown, lost his mind. He was delusional and erratic all day, telling everyone he met that he was a rich man, and sometimes even had violent tendencies. In the end, the police had no choice but to commit him to a psychiatric hospital. When I heard the news, I had been promoted twice at my new company. I bought a new house nearby and started dating a new girlfriend who didn't care about my past. The day we were planning our honeymoon, she suddenly asked me mysteriously what value a honeymoon held in my heart. I thought for a moment. For people in love, it's priceless. For people not in love, it's probably exorbitant. What is the true value of our honeymoon? That will likely need to be tested by time. But even though I am full of scars, I still believe in pure and perfect love.